3 hours after I buried my only son, my daughter-in-law Amber stood in the doorway of what used to be his childhood bedroom and told me I had 48 hours to pack my things and leave. Her mascara was still smudged from the funeral, but her voice was ice. The house, she said, was hers now. Everything was hers. I looked at her expensive black dress and diamond earrings my son could never afford, and something in my chest went cold. I wiped my eyes and nodded like a broken old man, but my phone was recording every word. I shuffled back to my small bedroom at the end of the hallway, shoulders hunched, letting Amber see exactly what she expected to see. A defeated old man. A grieving father with nowhere to go and no fight left in him. The door clicked shut behind me, and I heard her heels on the hardwood floor, walking away with that confident stride she always had. A car engine started outside a few minutes later. She was leaving, probably to celebrate with whoever was waiting for her. The moment her car pulled out of the driveway, I straightened up. My hands were shaking, but not from weakness, from rage. From the kind of cold, focused anger that comes when you know something is terribly wrong but you cannot yet name it. I sat on the edge of my bed and pulled out my phone, stopping the recording. Her voice played back clear as crystal. Every word about the house being hers, about me having 2 days, about how Marcus would have wanted this. All lies, all recorded. But I needed more than her cruelty on tape. I needed to understand what happened to my son. Marcus died 3 weeks ago while I was in Montana visiting my brother. A car accident, Amber told me over the phone. Single vehicle collision on Highway 95. I caught the first flight back, but by the time I landed, she had already had him cremated. Her choice, she said. Marcus would have wanted it quick and simple. No viewing, no open casket. Just ashes in an urn, and a funeral service where I barely recognized half the people in attendance. Something about that had bothered me from the start, but grief has a way of clouding judgment. Now, standing in my dead son's house with 2 days until I was thrown out, the clouds were clearing fast. I started going through Marcus's belongings. Not to pack, to investigate. His dresser drawers held nothing unusual. Clothes folded neatly, probably by Amber. His closet was the same. But then I noticed something behind a row of books on the shelf. Marcus always kept his important things hidden in plain sight, ever since he was a boy hiding comic books from his mother. I pulled the books forward and there it was, his laptop. My fingers trembled as I opened it. The screen prompted for a password. I tried his birthday. Wrong. His wedding anniversary. Wrong. Then I remembered something from when Marcus was 12 years old. I had set up his first email account and made him memorize a password. We used the name of his childhood dog and his lucky number. I typed it in. The screen unlocked. My heart hammered as I opened his email. The most recent messages were all from Amber, sent after his death. Condolences from friends, business contacts, distant relatives. But I scrolled back further, to the days before the accident. That is when I found it. An email to a lawyer named Patrick Hayes. Subject line: Consultation regarding divorce and asset protection. The email was dated 2 months ago. Marcus was planning to leave Amber. He wrote about discovering financial irregularities in their joint accounts. He mentioned suspecting an affair. He wanted to know his legal options for protecting his business and assets before filing for divorce. The lawyer had responded with available appointment times. Marcus had scheduled a meeting for the day after his accident. My son never made it to that meeting. I kept digging through his email, my breathing shallow. There were messages to someone named Rick Delgado, a private investigator. Marcus had hired someone to follow Amber. The investigator sent back reports with time-stamped photos. Amber entering a gym with a man who was not Marcus. The same man leaving her car 2 hours later. Hotel receipts, restaurant bills. An affair documented in painful detail. The man's name appeared in one of the reports. Derek Bronson, personal trainer at Elite Fitness downtown. I sat back, the laptop screen glowing in the dim room. Marcus knew. He knew Amber was cheating. He knew something was wrong with their finances. He was taking steps to protect himself. And then he died in a convenient accident before he could do anything about it. The bedroom door was still closed. The house was silent. I opened Marcus's banking app on the laptop. He had given me emergency access years ago when he first started his business, in case anything ever happened to him. The irony was not lost on me. The account loaded. I scanned through recent transactions and my blood ran cold. $250,000 had been withdrawn the day before Marcus died, transferred to an account in Amber's name only, not their joint account, hers alone. I clicked through more screens, finding documents Marcus had scanned and saved. Life insurance paperwork, a policy for $500,000. Beneficiary, Amber Thompson. I did the math in my head. $750,000 total, plus this house, which Marcus had bought before the marriage, probably worth another $400,000 in this market. If Marcus was dead, Amber stood to gain over $1 million. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the laptop. I set it carefully on the bed and stood up, pacing the small room. This could not be real. This could not be what I was thinking. But the evidence was right there. The affair. The money moved the day before his death. The insurance policy. The rushed cremation that left no body to examine. The convenient car accident right before Marcus was going to expose everything. I heard a car in the driveway and quickly shoved the laptop under my jacket, tucking it against my body. Footsteps on the porch. The front door opening. Amber was back. I cracked my bedroom door and peered out. She walked past carrying shopping bags. Expensive bags from stores Marcus could never have afforded on his income. She disappeared into the master bedroom without looking my direction. I waited, barely breathing, then slipped down the hallway to the bathroom. I splashed water on my face and looked at myself in the mirror. 71 years old. Gray hair, wrinkled skin, an old man who just buried his only child. But my eyes were not the eyes of a broken man anymore. They were calculating, planning. I left the bathroom and headed back toward my room. Amber's door was open now, and I could hear her on the phone. I know. Just 2 more days, and he will be gone. Then we can move forward with everything. A pause. She was listening to whoever was on the other end. No, he is not a problem. Trust me. He is just a sad old man. He will pack up his stuff and disappear. Another pause. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. The house is already in my name. Marcus signed the papers 6 months ago. I convinced him it was for tax purposes. He never suspected a thing. My stomach turned. I moved closer, staying out of sight. Tomorrow night at the latest. Then we sell this place and move on. You and me, baby. Just like we planned. I ducked back into my room before she could see me. My mind was racing. Every instinct screamed that my son had not died in any accident. My son had been murdered, and I had less than 48 hours to prove it before Amber made sure I could never expose the truth. Morning light came through the thin curtains, but I had not slept, could not sleep. I spent the entire night reading every file on Marcus's laptop, every email, every document. By dawn, I had a timeline of the last year of my son's life, and it was a horror story. The affair started 18 months ago. The financial theft began around the same time. Amber had been systematically draining money from Marcus's business account into various places he would not notice right away. Small amounts at first, then larger transfers disguised as business expenses. Marcus only caught on 2 months ago when a client complained about an unpaid invoice that Marcus had proof of paying. That was when he hired the private investigator. That was when he started documenting everything. My son was building a case against his own wife, and then he died before he could use it. I found text messages on his laptop, backed up from his phone, messages between Amber and Derek that made my skin crawl. They went back 18 months, like I suspected. But the recent ones were different, colder, more calculated. One from Amber to Derek, sent a week before Marcus's death. It is almost done. Just need to wait for the insurance. Derek's response. What about the old man, Amber? He will be gone in 2 days. He has got nothing. I photographed every message with my phone, every document, every piece of evidence. My hands were steadier now. I had purpose. At 8 in the morning, I called the police non-emergency line. A bored dispatcher answered, and I asked to speak with someone about my son's accident. She transferred me to a detective. Detective Walsh. How can I help you? I explained who I was, that my son had died in a car accident 3 weeks ago, that I had concerns about the circumstances. I tried to keep my voice steady and reasonable, not like a conspiracy theorist, like a father with legitimate questions. Walsh sounded skeptical but professional. I remember the case, Mr. Thompson. What concerns do you have? My son never drank and drove. Never. But the report said his blood alcohol was 0.12. That is what the toxicology showed, sir. I understand this is difficult, but sometimes we do not know everything about our loved ones. The condescension in his voice made my jaw clench. Can you look at the report again, please? Just review it? A long sigh. Mr. Thompson, the accident was pretty straightforward. Single-car collision, Highway 95, late at night. Your son's blood alcohol was 0.12. He crossed the center line and hit a concrete barrier. No other vehicles involved. I am sorry for your loss, but there is nothing suspicious here. My son's wife is having an affair. She moved money out of his accounts the day before he died. He was planning to divorce her. Silence on the other end. Then, that is unfortunate, sir, but it does not change the accident report. Without new evidence of foul play, we cannot reopen a closed case. What would count as new evidence? Proof of tampering, witness testimony, something concrete, not just family suspicions. I will tell you what. Let me pull the file and review it again. If anything stands out, I will call you back. Fair enough? It was better than nothing. Fair enough. Thank you, Detective. I hung up and sat on my bed, thinking, I needed a lawyer. I needed someone who could help me navigate this legally. I scrolled through Marcus's emails and found Patrick Hayes's contact information. The law office answered on the second ring. A receptionist took my information and put me on hold. 2 minutes later, a man's voice came on the line. Mr. Thompson? This is Patrick Hayes. I am very sorry about Marcus. He seemed like a good man from our brief correspondence. He was. Mr. Hayes, I need your help. I think my son was murdered. To his credit, Hayes did not laugh or dismiss me. That is a serious allegation. What makes you think that? I gave him the summary, the affair, the money, the insurance, the convenient timing, the rushed cremation. Hayes listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Can you come to my office this morning? Bring everything you have. I want to see this with my own eyes. I will be there in an hour. I waited until I heard Amber leave the house before I moved. She called out something about running errands and the door slammed. I gave it 5 minutes, then grabbed my jacket and the laptop and headed for the front door. It was locked. Not just locked, deadbolted from the outside somehow. I tried the back door. Same thing. Every exit was sealed in a way that could not be opened from inside. They had locked me in. Panic rose in my throat. I checked the windows, but they were old, painted shut years ago when Marcus first bought the place. I grabbed a chair and tried to force one open, but the frame would not budge. I pulled out my phone to call for help, then stopped. Who would I call? The police, who already thought I was a grieving father seeing conspiracies? A locksmith who would ask questions I could not answer? I forced myself to breathe slowly, think. There had to be a way out. An hour later, I heard a car return. The front door opened. Amber walked in and found me standing in the living room. Her eyes widened in fake surprise. Bruce, you startled me. What are you doing? I was trying to go for a walk. Needed some air. The doors were stuck. She smiled. That same cold smile. Oh, they do that sometimes. Old house, you know. Here, let me help. She pulled a key from her purse and unlocked the deadbolt I had not been able to reach. The door opened easily. There you go. Sorry about that. But I saw it in her eyes. She wanted me to know. Wanted me to understand that I was trapped. This was psychological warfare. Thank you, I said quietly, playing the defeated old man again. I walked outside into the cool morning air and did not look back until I was 3 blocks away. Then I called a taxi and gave the driver Hayes's office address. The law office was in a modern building downtown. Hayes met me in a conference room, a man in his 40s with sharp eyes and a firm handshake. I showed him everything. The emails, the bank records, the text messages between Amber and Derek, the life insurance policy. Hayes went through it all methodically, making notes, asking questions. When he finished, he sat back in his chair and rubbed his jaw. This is concerning, Bruce. Very concerning. But I have to be honest with you. It is all circumstantial. The affair does not prove murder. Even the money transfer, while suspicious, does not prove anything criminal. She could argue those were legitimate expenses or transfers within a marriage. What about the texts? About waiting for the insurance? Again, suspicious. But not concrete proof. A defense attorney would say she was talking about something else entirely. We need proof that Marcus's death was not an accident. We need something that directly ties Amber or this Derek person to causing the crash. My heart sank. So what do I do? Hayes leaned forward. I make some calls. I have a contact at the medical examiner's office. I know an accident reconstruction expert. Let me see what I can find out. But Bruce, you need to understand something. If Amber suspects you are investigating, she might do something drastic. Be careful. I have less than 2 days before she throws me out of the house. Then we work fast. Give me until this afternoon. Stay somewhere public. Do not go back to that house alone. I agreed and left his office with a small flicker of hope. Hayes was taking me seriously. That was something. I spent 2 hours in a coffee shop, nursing a cup of black coffee and watching my phone. At 1 in the afternoon it rang. Detective Walsh. Mr. Thompson? I reviewed your son's accident file like I promised. And? His tone was completely different now. Formal, almost hostile. I need you to come to the station immediately. Why? Did you find something? Just come to the station, sir. Detective, what is this about? A pause. We received a call from your daughter-in-law this morning. She filed a restraining order against you for harassment and threatening behavior. She has video evidence and witness statements. I need you to come in and address these allegations. My stomach dropped. That is a lie. I have not threatened anyone. That is not what the evidence shows. Are you going to come in voluntarily, or do I need to send officers? Hayes had given me his cell number. I hung up on Walsh and called the attorney immediately. Hayes, they are trying to arrest me. Amber filed a restraining order. Claimed I threatened her. Do not go to the station. I am coming to you. Where are you? I gave him the coffee shop address. He arrived 20 minutes later, his expression grim. This is a setup, Bruce. Classic intimidation tactic. She is trying to make you look unstable so no one believes your accusations. My phone buzzed. An email from Amber. Subject line, evidence. I opened it with shaking hands. Video files. Audio clips. I clicked on the first video. It was me, going through Marcus's laptop in the bedroom. The angle suggested a hidden camera, but the video was edited. Cut to make it look like I was stealing things, frantically searching through belongings. The audio was dubbed over, my voice saying things I never said, threatening things, angry things. There were 3 more clips just like it. All edited, all designed to make me look dangerous and unhinged. The final message in the email read, "You have until tonight to leave, Bruce, or I press charges, and you will spend your final years in prison for violating elder abuse laws by living in my house without permission. Your choice, disappear quietly or be destroyed publicly." I have more evidence ready to go. Hayes read over my shoulder, his face darkening. She has been planning this. Probably recording you since the funeral. Now she is using it to silence you. What do I do? We need clean evidence. Something that does not come from you or the house. Something she cannot claim you fabricated or stole. We need a witness or physical proof from the accident scene itself. A thought struck me. The accident was on Highway 95. What if there was a camera, a business nearby? Hayes nodded slowly. It is worth checking. But Bruce, if you go, be careful, and whatever you find, we need it documented properly. No more operating alone. But I was already standing. I have to try. It is all I have left. Highway 95 stretched through an industrial area about 15 miles outside the city. I drove my old truck out there that afternoon, following the accident report coordinates Hayes had pulled from the police file. The location was a straight, wide section of road with good visibility in both directions. No curves, no blind spots, no reason a sober driver would lose control, let alone a driver who knew this road well. I parked on the shoulder and walked along the concrete barrier where Marcus's car supposedly hit. There were no skid marks visible anymore. 3 weeks of traffic and weather had erased them. But standing there, looking at the road, nothing made sense. This was not an accident waiting to happen. This was a safe stretch of highway. I turned slowly, scanning the area. Industrial buildings, a truck depot, a small auto repair shop, and across the road a family-owned diner with a faded sign reading Dorothy's Place. The diner had security cameras visible on the corners of the building. My heart started pounding as I crossed the road and pushed through the diner's front door. A bell chimed. The place was nearly empty, just a few customers at the counter. An older woman with gray hair tied back in a bun looked up from wiping down tables. "Help you, honey. Are you Dorothy? 32 years running this place. What can I get you?" "I need to talk to you about an accident that happened across the road 3 weeks ago. At night, my son was killed." Her expression softened immediately. "Oh, sweetheart. I am so sorry. I remember that night. Terrible thing. Police were out here for hours." "Your security cameras, do they face the road?" She nodded. "Both corners. I had them installed 5 years ago after some kids vandalized the sign." "Why? Would you still have footage from that night?" Dorothy studied me for a long moment, then gestured toward a booth. "Sit down. Let me get you some coffee." She returned with 2 cups and slid into the booth across from me. "Tell me why you are asking." I gave her the short version, the suspicions, the evidence of the affair and the money, the timing. She listened without interrupting, her weathered face thoughtful. "When I finished," she said, "I wondered about that accident. Something felt wrong. The police said he was drunk, but the way it happened." She trailed off, shaking her head. "You saw it?" I was closing up, heard the crash, ran outside and saw the whole mess. Called 911 immediately. But before the police got there, I saw something else. There was a truck, big black pickup. It took off right after the crash. Never stopped. Never came back. My pulse hammered. "Did you tell the police?" "Tried to. The detective who came out, Walsh, I think his name was, he did not seem interested. Said it was probably just someone who did not want to get involved. Told me the accident was clear-cut drunk driving. I let it go. But it bothered me." "Dorothy, can I see the footage from that night?" She looked at me for a long time, then nodded. "Come on back." She led me to a small office behind the kitchen. An old desktop computer sat on a cluttered desk. She woke it up and pulled up the security software, scrolling back through dates. "Here, this is it." The footage was grainy but clear enough. Timestamp showed 11:47 at night. I watched the empty road, then saw headlights. Marcus's car, driving normally, not weaving or swerving. Steady speed, then another set of headlights behind him. A larger vehicle, a truck. The truck accelerated, closing the distance. Then it bumped Marcus's car from behind. Not hard enough to cause major damage, but enough to make Marcus lose control. His car veered, overcorrected, then slammed into the concrete barrier at high speed. The truck slowed but did not stop. It drove past the wreckage and disappeared from frame. I felt sick. This was murder. Clear, documented murder. "Can you make me a copy of this?" Dorothy was already pulling a USB drive from a drawer. "Already done, honey. I saved it that night just in case. Something told me to keep it." She copied the file and handed me the drive. "Take it. Get justice for your boy." I could have hugged her. "Thank you. Thank you so much. Will you testify to what you saw?" "Absolutely. That woman needs to answer for what she did." I left the diner with the USB drive clutched in my hand, hope surging through me for the first time in weeks. This was real evidence. This changed everything. I was halfway to my truck when a police car pulled up beside me on the shoulder. Detective Walsh stepped out, another officer with him. "Mr. Thompson, we need to talk." "Detective, I have evidence. Marcus was murdered." "Look at this footage." I held up the USB drive. Walsh took it from my hand, examined it briefly. His expression was unreadable. "Sir, you need to calm down." "Calm down? Did you not hear me? I have proof." The other officer moved behind me, hand on his belt. Walsh pocketed the USB drive. "Mr. Thompson, your daughter-in-law warned us you might have a breakdown. She showed us your history." "What history?" "I do not have a history." Walsh pulled out a manila folder from his car and opened it. Medical records, hospital intake forms, psychiatric evaluations, all with my name on them. All saying I had been hospitalized 15 years ago for paranoid delusions, 3 months of inpatient treatment. My vision blurred. "That is not real. I was never hospitalized. Those are fake." "These are official records, sir. From County General, signed by doctors. Your son had you committed for your own safety. Marcus would never. That is impossible." But the documents looked real. Official letterhead, signatures, stamps. Someone had created an entire false history for me. Walsh's voice softened, but his eyes stayed hard. We are taking you for a 72-hour psychiatric evaluation. It is for your own safety." "No. No. You cannot do this. I have evidence." I pointed at his pocket where he put the USB drive. Walsh looked down at the drive in his hand, then at me. Without breaking eye contact, he dropped it on the ground and crushed it under his boot. The plastic shattered. The drive broke into pieces. "What evidence, Mr. Thompson?" My legs nearly gave out. He destroyed it. The only proof, gone. The other officer was already moving toward me with handcuffs. "Sir, please do not resist." I looked past them toward the diner. Dorothy stood in the doorway, watching. Our eyes met. I shook my head slightly, hoping she understood. "Do not get involved. Stay safe." She stepped back inside. Walsh and his partner put me in handcuffs, not roughly, but firmly. They guided me into the back of the police car. Through the window, I could see Walsh making a phone call. He was smiling. Across the road, a black sedan pulled up. The window rolled down. Derek sat in the driver's seat, watching me. He raised his hand in a mock salute, grinning. This was planned, all of it. They knew I would find the footage. They were waiting for me. As the police car pulled away, taking me toward the psychiatric facility, I realized the truth. Amber had connections I never imagined. She had corrupted Walsh. She had forged medical records good enough to fool anyone. She had been 3 steps ahead of me this whole time. In 72 hours, she would have me declared mentally incompetent. Every accusation I made would seem like delusions. The evidence would be gone. Dorothy would be too scared to testify against corrupt police. My son's murder would be buried forever, and I was being disappeared into the system with no way to fight back. The county psychiatric facility was a low gray building surrounded by chain-link fence. They processed me like a criminal, took my clothes, my wallet, my phone, gave me thin hospital scrubs and paper slippers, led me to a small room with 2 beds, white walls, and a window with bars on it. My roommate was a man in his 50s who rocked back and forth on his bed, muttering to himself. He did not acknowledge me when I entered. A nurse came in with paper cups, pills. "For the anxiety," she said, her voice kind but firm. "I am not anxious. I do not need medication. Doctor's orders. Take them or we administer them another way." I knew what that meant. Forced injection. I took the pills, swallowed them dry, opened my mouth to show they were gone. The nurse nodded and left. Within an hour, the medication hit me. Everything felt muffled, distant. My thoughts moved like they were pushing through mud. This was intentional. Keep me sedated. Keep me quiet. That first day blurred together. Doctors asking questions I tried to answer coherently. Nurses checking on me every 2 hours. My roommate screaming in the middle of the night about demons in the walls. No sleep, no clear thoughts, no way to contact anyone. On the second day, they brought me to an evaluation room. A psychiatrist named Dr. Pearson sat across from me, clipboard in hand. She was in her 40s, professional, with a kind face that I did not trust. "Bruce, I am here to help you. Your daughter-in-law is very worried about you. My daughter-in-law murdered my son." Pearson made a note. "Tell me about that." I tried. I tried to explain everything rationally. The affair, the money, the evidence. But with the medication clouding my thoughts, it came out disjointed, paranoid sounding. Exactly how they wanted it to sound. Pearson listened patiently, nodding occasionally. When I finished, she said, "These elaborate conspiracies are common in grief, Bruce. Your son died in an accident. You cannot accept that reality, so your mind has created this alternative narrative where someone is to blame." I had proof. Video footage. Detective Walsh destroyed it. Another note on her clipboard. "Do you often feel that authority figures are working against you?" I am not paranoid. I know what I saw. I am sure it feels very real to you. That is the nature of these episodes. But Bruce, you were hospitalized for similar delusions 15 years ago. This is a pattern we need to address. I was never hospitalized. Those records are forged. She gave me a sad, pitying look. "Denial is part of the condition. We are going to keep you here past the initial 72 hours. I think you need more intensive treatment for your own safety." They were extending my hold. Amber was going to win. That night, I lay in my bed staring at the ceiling, the medication making my body heavy but my mind racing uselessly in circles. My roommate was quiet for once, just breathing heavily in his sleep. I thought about Marcus. His whole life played through my memory. Teaching him to ride a bike on our street in the summer heat. His high school graduation where he gave a speech about becoming an architect. His wedding to Amber where I walked him down the aisle because his mother had passed 2 years before. I remembered thinking Amber was so poised, so beautiful, so perfect for him. I was such a fool. Tears ran down my face, and I did not bother wiping them away. In here, no one cared if an old man cried. Around 2 in the morning, my roommate suddenly spoke clearly for the first time since I arrived. "They do this." I turned my head. He was sitting up, looking at me with lucid eyes. "What?" "They lock up people who know too much. People who threaten the wrong folks. Make everyone think you are crazy, so no one believes you. You are talking sense now." He smiled sadly. "I have moments, not many left. But I remember, I was a CPA, found fraud at a company I worked for. Big fraud. Millions. I went to report it, and the next thing I knew, I was here. That was 17 years ago. Everyone thinks I am crazy now. Maybe I am. Hard to tell anymore. I am sorry." "Do not be sorry. Be smart." He reached under his mattress and pulled out something small, a blade from a disposable razor. "The window in the shower room. 3rd shift, 3 to 7 in the morning. Only one orderly on this floor during those hours. The lock is broken on that window. Has been for months. They do not fix it because they do not think anyone in here is smart enough to use it." He pressed the blade into my hand. "Get out. Tell your story to someone who matters before they erase you like they erased me." I looked at the blade, then at him. "Why are you helping me?" "Because 17 years ago no one helped me. Now go. You got maybe 2 days before they medicate you so heavy you cannot think straight anymore. That is when they really have you." I palmed the blade and nodded. "Thank you. Do not thank me yet. Getting out is the easy part. Staying free when they think you are dangerous is harder." He was right. But staying here meant giving up, meant letting Amber win, meant my son's murder went unpunished. I had to try. The next morning during my scheduled shower time, I asked the orderly if I could have a few extra minutes. He barely looked up from his phone. 10 minutes. Bang on the door when you are done." The shower room was small, with 3 stalls and 1 window high on the wall. Frosted glass, about 2 feet square. I waited until I heard the orderly walk away down the hall, then pulled out the razor blade. The window lock was ancient, painted over multiple times. I worked the blade into the crack between the frame and the lock mechanism, prying gently. Paint chips fell away. The lock was loose, just like my roommate said. 5 minutes of careful work and the lock popped free. I pushed the window open. Cool night air hit my face. Freedom smelled like car exhaust and rain. The drop was about 8 feet to the ground. Trash bins sat below, which would break the fall but make noise. I had no choice. I pulled myself up onto the narrow windowsill, my old body protesting every movement, 71 years old and escaping from a psychiatric facility. If I survived this, it would make one terrible story to tell at family dinners. Except I had no family left. I squeezed through the window, dropping feet first toward the bins. Hit hard, the metal booming like thunder. I froze, waiting for shouts, alarms, footsteps. Nothing. I climbed down and ran. Hospital scrubs, paper slippers, no identification, no money, no phone, but free. Behind me, an alarm started wailing. Spotlights clicked on, sweeping the grounds. Voices shouted. Dogs barked. I made it to the tree line at the edge of the property and plunged into the woods. Branches tore at my arms and face. The paper slippers disintegrated in seconds, leaving my feet bare on the rough ground. I kept running. The sounds of pursuit faded behind me, but I did not stop until I physically could not run anymore. I collapsed against a tree, lungs burning, heart hammering so hard I thought it might explode. An escaped mental patient. That was what I was now. Wanted by police. No credibility, no proof, no way to reach Hayes, or anyone who might help. Amber had won completely. I sat there in the dark woods, shivering in the thin scrubs, feet bleeding, and let the despair wash over me. This was how it ended. A foolish old man who thought he could take on corruption and win. Marcus would have told me to let it go, to stay safe. But Marcus was dead and I could not let it go. I did not know how long I sat there. Maybe an hour. Maybe more. Eventually the cold forced me to move. I could not stay in the woods. I needed to get somewhere, anywhere, with people who might help. Through the trees, I saw highway lights in the distance. I started walking toward them, every step painful on my cut feet. The highway was two-lane, rural, not much traffic at this hour. I walked along the shoulder, staying in the shadows, trying to figure out what to do next. Flag down a car? Call for help using a payphone if I could find one? Every option seemed impossible. Then I heard it, a car engine slowing behind me. I turned, ready to run back into the woods if it was police. Headlights swept over me, blinding. The car pulled onto the shoulder and stopped. A door opened. A voice called out. A voice I knew better than any other in the world. "Dad, Dad, it is me." I froze. That was impossible. That voice belonged to someone dead and cremated. I stepped toward the headlights, legs trembling, thinking the medication was making me hallucinate. The figure moved closer, and the headlights illuminated his face. Marcus, my son, alive, standing right there in front of me. I tried to speak, but no words came out. My knees buckled. Marcus rushed forward and caught me before I hit the ground. "Dad, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I had to make her think I was dead. It was the only way to trap her." I touched his face with shaking hands. "Real, warm, alive." "How?" I managed to whisper. "I will explain everything. But right now we need to get you out of here before they find you. Come on." He helped me into the car, a plain sedan with tinted windows. I collapsed into the passenger seat, still unable to process what was happening. Marcus got behind the wheel and drove back onto the highway, checking the mirrors constantly. "You are alive," I said, the words feeling strange in my mouth. "I am alive. But the funeral, the cremation, I saw the urn." "I know. I know what you saw, and I will explain all of it. But first, are you hurt? Your feet are bleeding." I looked down. My feet were torn up from the run through the woods, blood staining the car mat. I had not even felt it during the shock. "I am fine. Tell me what happened. Tell me all of it." Marcus drove in silence for a moment, his jaw tight. Then he started talking. 3 months ago, I found out about Amber and Derek, the affair. I hired an investigator, just like you found in my emails. But the investigator discovered something worse. Amber was married before. 6 years ago, in Nevada, husband died in a suspicious accident. She collected insurance money and disappeared. My hands clenched into fists. The investigator had contacts with the FBI. They had been watching cases of insurance fraud with suspicious deaths. Amber's name popped up in their database. Not as a suspect, but as someone connected to 3 different cases across 2 states. They wanted to build a case, but needed her to reveal her network. Who was helping her? How she was getting away with it. "So you faked your death." I proposed it. The FBI agreed. It was the only way to catch her in the act. We staged the accident on Highway 95. The body in the car was a John Doe from the state morgue who matched my height and build. The FBI arranged everything with the medical examiner. We made it look real enough to fool Amber. I stared at my son, my dead son who was alive, and felt anger building beneath the relief. "You let me think you were dead. I went to your funeral. I mourned you." Tears ran down Marcus's face. "I know, Dad, it was killing me. But if I told you, you would have reacted differently. Amber would have noticed something was wrong. She is smart, calculating. Any slip would have blown the whole operation. She tried to have me killed, locked in the house, destroyed in the psychiatric system." "I know. The FBI has been recording everything. Every move she made against you, every crime, every conspiracy. She is going down, Dad. All of them are. Walsh, Derek, the document forger, everyone in her network. But we needed one more piece." "What piece?" Marcus glanced at me, his expression grim. "We need her to try again. To make one final mistake that puts her away forever. And that is where you come in." Marcus drove us to a motel outside the city, paid cash for a room, and helped me inside. My feet were bandaged, I had real clothes on for the first time in days, and my head was finally clear of the psychiatric medication. But I was still trying to process the truth. My son was alive. Everything I had gone through, all the fear and grief and desperation, was based on a lie meant to trap a murderer. Marcus sat across from me in the dingy motel room, hands clasped between his knees. "I need you to understand why we did it this way." "I am listening." "The FBI has been building a case against Amber for 8 months. She is part of a network. They prey on wealthy men, marry them, kill them, collect insurance and assets, then move on to the next target. Amber was going to do it to me. The investigator found communications between her and at least 4 other women doing the same thing across the country. They share resources, document forgers, corrupt officials, medical examiners willing to falsify reports. I felt sick. How many people have they killed? At least 12 that we know of. Probably more. The FBI wants the entire network, not just Amber. That means letting her think she succeeded, watching her next moves, seeing who she contacts and how the money moves. And I was bait. Marcus flinched. Not intentionally. We thought we could keep you safe. The plan was for you to go back to Montana, stay with Uncle Ray, and wait it out. But you came back. You started investigating. You found evidence we did not even know existed. Dad, you almost ruined everything. I almost ruined everything? Marcus, she tried to erase me. I know. And the FBI recorded all of it. Every crime she committed against you. Kidnapping, false imprisonment, conspiracy to commit elder abuse, corruption of police officers, forged medical documents. They have her on dozens of charges now. But there is one more thing we need. What? Tonight is your eviction deadline. Amber thinks you are locked away in the psychiatric facility, unable to interfere. She is planning to clear out the house, and tomorrow file paperwork to have you permanently committed so you can never accuse her. But there is chatter that Derek wants to burn the house down for more insurance money. The FBI wants to catch them in the act. Attempted arson, conspiracy, everything. I stared at him. You want me to go back there? We want you to confront her. Show up alive, escaped, angry. Let her try one more crime that we can catch on tape. Once she makes that move, the FBI arrests everyone. It ends tonight. And if something goes wrong, Marcus met my eyes. I will be right outside. Dozens of agents will be surrounding the property. You will be wired with recording equipment. At the first sign of real danger, they move in. You will not be alone this time, I promise. I thought about it, about everything Amber had done. Not just to me, but to Marcus, to her previous husband, to all the victims the FBI had connected to her network. She needed to be stopped. But more than that, I needed to look her in the face and let her know she lost. All right, I will do it. Marcus pulled out a bag from the closet. Inside was a fresh set of clothes, shoes that fit, and a small device the FBI would use to record everything. He helped me get dressed, attaching the wire carefully under my shirt. This records audio and video. Everything you see and hear gets transmitted back to the FBI van 3 blocks away. They will be listening to every word. What do I say to her? The truth. Confront her about Marcus's murder. Let her talk. She will incriminate herself. People like her. When they think they have won, they like to brag about it. We drove back to the house as the sun was setting. The neighborhood looked peaceful, normal. No one would guess what horrors had happened behind those walls. Marcus parked a block away. The FBI is already in position. I will be in this car, listening. If anything goes wrong, we come in immediately. Ready? I nodded, though I was not sure that was true. I walked to the house alone. Amber's car was in the driveway. Derek's truck was parked behind it. Lights were on inside. I could hear voices arguing about something. My hand shook as I reached for the doorbell. This was it. The moment everything ended, one way or another. Before I could ring the bell, I heard Derek shout from inside. I do not care what the plan was. That old man escaped the facility. He is out there. If he reaches the FBI first, we are finished. Amber's voice, panicked now. How did he escape? Walsh said it was secure. Walsh is an idiot. We need to disappear tonight. Grab what we can and run. I pressed the doorbell. The sound echoed through the house. Instant silence. Footsteps approached. Fast. Scared. The door swung open. Amber stood there, and the blood drained from her face. For 3 seconds, she just stared at me like I was a ghost. Behind her, Derek appeared in the hallway. His hand moved to his waistband, and I saw the gun tucked there. Amber's mouth opened and closed. Finally, she found words. Bruce, how? You are supposed to be. Locked up? Silenced? Erased like my son? Her expression shifted from shock to calculation to cold determination in the span of a heartbeat. That was when I knew Marcus was right. She was not going to run. She was going to try to finish what she started. She stepped back. Derek moved forward, pulling the gun. "Get inside, old man." Now, I walked into my son's house at gunpoint for what I hoped would be the last time. Amber locked the door behind me and turned to face me. The mask was gone. No more fake grief, no more pretend kindness. Just cold, calculated malice. "You should have just left, Bruce. None of this had to happen. My son is dead because of you. You think I would just walk away?" She laughed. Actually laughed. "Your son was weak. He was going to throw away everything I built. The business, the house, the life I created. He was going to divorce me and leave me with nothing after 5 years of putting up with his boring, simple existence. The wire under my shirt was capturing every word. I needed more. So you killed him." Derek killed him. "I just planned it, and it was perfect. Single car accident. Drunk driving. No witnesses. Even the medical examiner played along once we paid him enough. Derek kept the gun pointed at me. We should have taken care of you at the funeral. Amber said you would just leave. I said you would be a problem." Amber waved a dismissive hand. "He is just a pathetic old man. Look at him. Escaped from a psychiatric facility. No credibility, no proof. Even if he talks, no one will believe him." "Tell me about your first husband," I said. "In Nevada." Amber's eyes narrowed. "You have been busy. Did Marcus's lawyer help you with that, Mr. Hayes?" "We already sent someone to take care of him this afternoon. Professional job. Looks like a robbery gone wrong." My blood ran cold. Hayes was dead because of me. But I saw it in her face. She was lying, trying to break me. The FBI would have warned Hayes if there was a real threat. "You are part of a network," I continued. "Insurance fraud. Multiple murders. The FBI knows." Derek and Amber exchanged glances. Derek tightened his grip on the gun. Amber recovered quickly. "The FBI knows nothing. Even if they suspected something, we covered our tracks. Walsh destroyed your evidence. Your lawyer will not talk. You are going to have a terrible accident tonight, just like your son. 2 family tragedies. So sad. Before you kill me like you killed Marcus, tell me why. Why was not the money enough? Why did my son have to die?" Amber stepped closer, her voice dripping with venom. "Your son was going to divorce me. Take everything. I built that business with him. I was not going to walk away with nothing after 5 years of playing the perfect wife to that boring, simple man." Derek interrupted. "Enough talking. Let's finish this." But Amber was enjoying herself now, finally able to tell someone the truth. "You want to know the details, Bruce? Fine. Marcus was suspicious, started asking questions about the money. So I drugged his drink that night. Something to make him drowsy, but not enough to knock him out completely. Derek followed him onto Highway 95 and ran him off the road. The medical examiner we paid off made sure the tox screen showed alcohol instead of the sedative. The body was cremated before anyone could ask questions. Perfect plan. Every word recorded. Every confession captured. "How many others?" I asked. "Others? How many other men have you killed?" She smiled. "Marcus was number 3. You would be surprised how easy it is. Men are so desperate for a beautiful woman to pay attention to them. They sign over assets. They change their wills. They trust you. And then they have accidents. The first one was the hardest. After that, it is just a process." Derek was getting nervous. "Amber, we need to go. Now. This is taking too long. In a minute. I want him to understand what happens when you get in my way." She pulled out her phone and showed me photos. Forged medical records, financial documents, bank accounts in different names. She had kept evidence of everything, probably as insurance against her partners. "See? I have backups of backups. Even if you recorded any of this, which you did not because I made sure you had no phone, I have documentation that proves you are mentally unstable, that you have made threats, that you are dangerous. Your word against mine, and mine comes with official paperwork. What about the camera footage? The diner across from the accident site?" Amber's smile faltered for just a second. "Destroyed. Walsh took care of it." "Did he? Are you sure?" Doubt flickered across her face. "Of course I am sure. Then why do I know about the truck? The black pickup that hit Marcus from behind? The same truck that is sitting in the driveway right now?" Derek's face went pale. "She is bluffing." "Is she? Or did you miss something?" The room was silent. Amber and Derek looked at each other, uncertainty creeping in. Then every light in the house went out. Red and blue strobes lit up the windows. A voice boomed through a loudspeaker outside. "FBI! The house is surrounded! Come out with your hands up!" Derek spun toward the window, gun still in his hand. The front door exploded inward. FBI agents in tactical gear flooded the room, weapons drawn. "Drop the weapon. Drop it now." Derek hesitated for one terrible second, then dropped the gun and raised his hands. Amber tried to run toward the back door, but agents were already there. She was trapped. "Amber Thompson, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, wire fraud, insurance fraud, and attempted murder." She fought as they put handcuffs on her, screaming about lawyers and false arrests and how none of this would hold up in court. "We have your confession on tape," an agent told her calmly. "Multiple confessions, including admitting to 3 murders and a conspiracy network. You are done." Her eyes found mine across the room, filled with pure hatred. "You set me up. This whole thing was a setup." "No," I said quietly. "You set yourself up. I just gave you the rope." Then Marcus walked through the front door. Amber saw him, and the color drained from her face completely. For the first time since I met her, she looked genuinely terrified. "No, you are dead. I watched you die." Marcus stood in front of her, very much alive. "You watched someone else die. And now everyone knows what you are." Amber's legs gave out. Agents held her up as they read her rights. She was still staring at Marcus like he was a ghost come to destroy her. Her smile, the one she had worn for weeks while tormenting me, had completely vanished, replaced by the hollow look of someone who had just lost everything. They led Derek and Amber out in handcuffs while more agents processed the scene. Marcus and I stood on the front lawn watching the police lights paint the neighborhood in flashing colors. Neighbors had come out of their houses watching the drama unfold. Within an hour, more arrests were happening simultaneously across the city. Detective Walsh was taken into custody at his home. The document forger who created my false medical records was arrested at his office. The corrupt medical examiner who falsified Marcus's death certificate was pulled out of a restaurant downtown. The entire network was collapsing. An FBI agent named Rodriguez came over to where we stood. "Mr. Thompson, we need your statement. But first, I want to thank you. What you did tonight was incredibly brave. I just wanted justice for my son. You got it. Amber and her accomplices are looking at life sentences. The evidence you helped us gather will put away at least 7 people involved in this operation, and we are tracking down leads on 4 more potential victims they were planning to target." Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. "Dad, I need to tell you something. Patrick Hayes is fine. Amber was lying about sending someone after him. We had agents protecting him from the moment you first contacted him. He is safe." Relief flooded through me. Thank God. There is something else. Dorothy, the woman from the diner. She kept a backup copy of the security footage. She gave it to the FBI yesterday after Walsh destroyed the USB drive. That footage, combined with your testimony and the confession we recorded tonight, that is what is going to convict them. She saved it. She did. She is a smart woman. She knew something was wrong, and she protected the evidence. Over the next 3 hours, I gave my full statement to the FBI. Every detail from the moment Amber told me to leave the house until tonight's confrontation. They recorded it all, thanked me again, and told me I would probably need to testify at trial. I did not care. I would testify 100 times if it meant justice. Around midnight, the investigators finally finished with the house. Marcus and I went back inside. It felt different now, lighter somehow, like a terrible weight had been lifted from the walls. We sat in the living room where this nightmare began. Marcus made coffee. We drank it in silence for a while. "I am sorry, Dad, for everything you went through. You did what you had to do. I made you think I was dead. I put you through hell. There had to be another way. Maybe, maybe not. But it is over now. That is what matters." Marcus wiped his eyes. "When I was in protective custody, watching the surveillance feeds, seeing what she did to you, the locked doors, the psychiatric facility, the way she tried to erase you, I wanted to blow my cover a dozen times. The FBI kept telling me to wait, that we needed more evidence. But you are my father. I was supposed to protect you. And you did. I am still here. We both are. Amber is the one in a cell. She was going to kill you tonight. Derek had the gun. If we had waited even 5 more minutes. But you did not wait. You came in at exactly the right time. Like you always do. He smiled through the tears. When did you figure out the accident was murder? The moment you came back from your honeymoon, and I saw how she looked at you when you were not watching. Like you were a mark, not a husband. I did not want to believe it then. I thought I was being paranoid. But fathers know. We see things. Why did not you say anything? Would you have believed me? You were in love. She was beautiful and charming and everything you thought you wanted. I had no proof. Just an old man's instincts. Marcus was quiet for a long time. I should have listened to those instincts. You did eventually. You hired the investigator. You found the truth. You did everything right, son. We sat there together until dawn started breaking through the windows. At some point, Marcus fell asleep on the couch, exhausted from weeks of stress and fear. I covered him with a blanket and watched him sleep. My son, alive, safe. 3 months later, I sat in a courtroom watching Amber Thompson being sentenced. The trial lasted 2 weeks. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. The confession recorded in the house, the security footage from Dorothy's diner, financial records showing the stolen money, testimony from the private investigator, medical evidence proving the body in the car was not Marcus, communications between Amber and her network of accomplices. The jury deliberated for 4 hours before returning with guilty verdicts on all 32 counts. The judge showed no mercy. Mrs. Thompson, you have shown a complete disregard for human life. You preyed on innocent people, killed them for financial gain, and showed no remorse. This court sentences you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Amber did not react, just stared straight ahead with empty eyes. Derek got 25 years. Detective Walsh got 15 years, plus he lost his pension and badge. The medical examiner got 12 years. The document forger got 8 years. Every single person who helped them was going to prison. Outside the courthouse, reporters crowded around us asking questions. Marcus handled most of them, explaining briefly about the FBI operation and the investigation. I stayed quiet, just glad it was finally over. Back at the house that evening, Marcus handed me an envelope. Inside were deed papers. Dad, I am signing the house over to you. It should have been yours all along. Marcus, no, this is your house. I do not want it anymore. Too many bad memories. I am buying a new place across town. Fresh start. But you fought for this house. You nearly died protecting my memory. It is yours now. Free and clear. I did not argue. We signed the papers that night with a notary Marcus had arranged. A week later, I was sitting in the living room when there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Dorothy from the diner holding a casserole dish. Thought you might like some home cooking. I saw the trial on the news. I am glad you got justice. Thank you, Dorothy, for everything. That footage you saved, that is what made the difference. I knew something was wrong that night. Figured it was better to be safe. You never know when the truth might matter. She stayed for dinner. We talked about her life, her diner, her late husband. It was nice, normal, the kind of evening I thought I would never have again. Marcus came by most days. We worked on fixing up the house together, repainting walls, replacing furniture that reminded us of Amber. Slowly, the place started feeling like a home again instead of a crime scene. One afternoon while we were painting the kitchen, Marcus said, I met someone. Her name is Julia. She is a teacher, nothing like Amber. The opposite of Amber in every way. I am happy for you, son. I am going slow this time, learning from mistakes, and I am going to make sure you meet her before I make any decisions. Get your read on her. I trust your judgment. After everything that happened? Are you sure? You figured it out. You stopped her. You saved both of us. Yes, I trust your judgment. He smiled. Thanks, Dad. Sitting here now in this house that almost became my tomb, I think about everything that happened, about how close we came to losing, about how evil can hide behind beautiful smiles and expensive clothes. People think when you get older, you become invisible, weak, easy to dismiss. Amber Thompson counted on that. She thought a grieving old man would just fade away quietly, that I would accept the loss of my son and disappear without a fight. But she did not understand something important. A father's love does not fade with age. It does not weaken or become less fierce. A man who has lived 71 years learns patience and determination. He learns that truth is more powerful than any lie, no matter how carefully constructed. I learned that evil often comes dressed in pretty packages, that corruption can reach into institutions we are supposed to trust, that sometimes the people meant to protect us are the ones we need protection from. But I also learned that justice, while sometimes slow and difficult, is relentless. The truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep you try to bury it. My son is alive. The people who tried to destroy us are in prison. Every morning when I wake up in this house, I look at the photo on the mantle. The same photo that was displayed at Marcus's fake funeral. Except now, it is just a picture of my son again. Not a memorial, just a memory of a good day. Marcus comes over tonight for dinner. He is bringing Julia. I will meet her, and I will trust my instincts about whether she is genuine, whether she sees my son for who he really is, not what she can take from him. Some people see an old man and think his useful days are behind him. They look at gray hair and wrinkles and assume there is nothing left to fear. They are wrong. Age brings wisdom, experience, the knowledge of exactly what you are willing to fight for and how far you will go to protect it. I protected my son's memory and uncovered his murder. I exposed a network of killers who preyed on innocent people. I survived being locked away and dismissed and nearly erased from existence. And I am still here, still standing, still ready to fight if I need to. Never underestimate an old man with nothing left to lose except the truth. We are more dangerous than you think. Now I have a question for anyone listening to this story. Have you ever had to fight for the truth when everyone around you said you were wrong? Have you ever felt invisible or dismissed because of your age or circumstances? How did you prove them wrong? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this story touched you in any way, if it reminded you that justice is worth fighting for no matter how impossible it seems, please hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories about real people facing impossible odds and finding the strength to overcome. Share this with someone who needs to remember that age is not weakness and that truth always finds a way to surface. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that it is never too late to fight for what is right, never too late to protect the people you love, and never too late to prove that you still matter. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and never give up on justice. Until next time,